November 21st, 2022. You're listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin, and I am Kevin.
And I am done.
Welcome back to the show. Dun, 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 dun.
Welcome you back. How about that?
I had the day off, so I have a little bit more energy than usual, as you can tell, but not
I
much.
didn't. I didn't have the day off, so I don't have the energy.
There we go. Well,
Yeah.
I'll have the energy for both of us. How about that?
Woo!
I'll do all the No, I won't do all the talking. That'll be
You
boring.
do all the heavy lifting.
That'll be boring for people if I talk the whole time. They'll be like, God damn, this guy doesn't shut
It's
up.
it's really what I mean. Basically, let's be honest. That's really what it is. It's you talking a lot, and then me throwing in an occasional, "Hey, maybe this is funny."
No, you got stuff. You talked about the Clint stories. You know, you talk more than you think. If you go back and listen, you talk more. I do talk probably the majority of the show, but you do put in
Yeah.
probably a good 20 minutes. So it's more than you think it
supporting
is.
character.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like that's the tumbling with tumbleweed and the Oblast together. You got stuff. You got stuff. You
It
just
works
got,
out.
you know, you just got to have things happen to you, and you haven't hung out with Adam anymore, so you don't have the Adam stories like you used to have. Like, so that's that's kind of drained it, and then you do see
Dude.
Clint, I guess, so that's good. But
But that I was in heaven when we were on our way to Wasp, and Don Cease was there because I was just like, "You haven't heard all of my Adam stories. Let me tell you this one." So it's like this, you know what I mean?
Right.
It entertained everybody. Everybody was laughing.
oh yeah, yeah,
You know, so it's
Great
like it worked out. So it was like good. I get to entertain everybody with stories they already heard. And Cease gets a brand new thing. He gets, we all get to look at his eyes as he just goes, "What?"
yeah. I was thinking about this. One thing I wanted to mention about that Wasp show that we saw that we talked about before. What I did find in reflection on that show is the fact that it was kind of done in a way like the ending of the show kind of made it look like it was just sort of the last time, like the last, you know what I mean? They were showing all the members of the band,
Yeah.
and when they were in it and stuff, and kind of saying a thank you type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me because it's kind of like I've been alive long enough that I was around when this band started, essentially,
Right.
and they've ended. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's weird like that because, like, I don't know. You don't think a band is going to kind of end, I guess. I mean, they do because people die, and I can't say for sure that Blackie Lawless is just going to stop making music. He probably will keep doing stuff, but will he still do Wasp? Who knows? I don't know. Probably. I don't know. Maybe not though. I mean, he's old, right? I mean, I might just want to
Right.
fucking stop doing it. You know? I mean, it's metal. It's like, how long are you going to wear like those boots and the tight sweatpants and? I mean, it's ridiculous. We're looking at him now. He looks ridiculous.
You look at all the videos like that are online. People be like, "Wasp live in like Massachusetts or Nevada or Denver or whatever." Like every one of them, he's dressed the same.
Yeah, exactly the same.
Like
Right.
the white boots, the white knee pads.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool to be metal. I mean, I'd like to be metal when I'm old and shit, still listening to it and everything. I will be, I'm sure, But, I mean, there's also just, like, I'm not on stage performing, running around, I mean, it's, But anyway, I just feel like, it's kind of like the
Stuff
end.
that you see that as like their swan song. Like that's him
Yeah.
saying, like, "All right, guys,
We're done. Yeah, we're done. We did it. This is everything. We did. This is our run, and we're done. And it's like, wow. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, maybe more bands actually should do that because some of these bands are trying to milk shit because they don't want to get jobs and stuff. I guess
Right.
they don't want to be music teachers or whatever the hell they could be. But
Walmart greeters."
right. But it's like some of these bands they just need to put down the instruments because nobody cares, man. I mean, when you got like two L.A. Guns or two Rats or whatever.
Yeah.
And, two Queensryches, things like that. It's like, come on. These
We're
bands,
fighting for the name to keep the rock going. It's like, yeah, you don't really need to.
right.
You know?
Right. You guys haven't cut a good song that's gotten airplay in like, fuck, man, like 20 years. Like, just, it's over now. You just,
Yeah.
all you guys are doing is burn offs and, greatest hits things. And it's just, it's awful. It's just awful.
Tour, like package tours. They're like, "Come see the '80s live with Loverboy and
That's another thing,
Foreigner."
too. Like, I listen to a lot of metal that comes out of like Northern Europe, right? Some people, you get like the
The black metal stuff.
Black metal, yeah, doom metal. There's Paradise Lost, Draconian, all that stuff. I can't even think of all of it. Swallow the Sun, a lot of it, right? But a lot of these guys, a lot of these bands, a lot of these guys are old. They're old dudes, but they're making really good music right now. They're kind of like sitting in studios and making songs that are like really good, and they're selling albums over there. You know what I mean? They're not here because nobody likes that kind of music, I guess. Whatever. I mean, some people do. They probably sell some around here. Don't get me wrong, but they're not touring here and things like that because they're not going to make money here on a tour. But over there, they do all right. I mean, they probably all have jobs. Some of them anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys that have been in bands forever, like My Dying Bride and stuff, I don't think they probably just do music. But other groups that are smaller, like Draconian and things like that, they probably just have regular jobs, and then they tour when they can. But my point being is like they get old, and they keep making really good music. But a lot of bands like that came like from our time, as they got older, they just kind of cut these albums that they were kind of like, hey, we got back together and we made an album. It's not good. It's not a good album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Dokken got back together, I think, at one time with like George Lynch or something, and they made an album and it wasn't good. But this happens all the time with bands. Like they release these albums and they must just be cash grabs because like they're not. I don't know what they're trying to do with those albums. Like they wouldn't have been good back in the day, and they're not good now. And I don't know. They're just trying to show that they can still play instruments, or so. I mean, it's what I mean. Like it's just like wow, it's rubbish. Go ahead.
It's kind of like what's kind of funny because Kiss. Everybody knows that I love Kiss. Everybody's like everybody knows that was like my childhood thing growing up. They released 2 albums. One was called Monster, and another one was called I honestly don't even remember. Because I've never listened to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like after like the reunion tour, and then they're like, oh, it's a reunion tour. Now we're doing the farewell tour, and then we're going and da 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 da. And it's like, okay, cool. I was like done. I was checked out. I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
You guys had a great career. I know you're not the greatest musicians in the world. They're not. And everybody always goes for that one. They're always like, they're not the greatest musicians, and it's like, yeah, but they can write a hook. And they can, and they had a gimmick. So whatever.
Right.
But it's like I've never listened to those 2 albums because I heard a song off of it. And when I listened to it, it was just, like you said, it was just like I'm listening to it and I'm just like, it doesn't have that feel. It doesn't have that.
It didn't grow. There's no growth and there's no, and there's no, there's no edge. It's just.
Nobody wants to hear them singing about joining AARP, or you know what I mean. It's like I got a bad hip the other day, so I replaced it. And it's just like nobody wants to hear that, and it's like they can't relate with like 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. No,
I get that, but it's also not music for us either. Like it's what I mean. Like there's
but that's what it is. It's these old guys trying to act like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Paul Stanley's coming out there at 60, whatever, 70 years old. He's like, hey, baby, I'm going to take my pants off. And it's just like, everybody's looking at you like, no, like, don't. Like all these girls are just like, please, sir. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you're older than my grandpa.
Right.
Like, that's not cool. So it's the band's fault because, I mean, even Blackie Lawless, when he was up there with Wasp, and you see him walking around and doing stuff. Even that dude, remember the one dude in Armored Saint? The one guitar player, where I was just like, dude crouches a lot.
Right.
Because he kept posing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For the people who didn't know, he was like putting his guitar down, and squatting down, and getting all dramatic and stuff. And you're looking at him like, dude, what are you like, 50, 55?
Right.
Maybe 60.
Yeah.
It's like you're not cool. And it's not a knock on him. That's not me saying like, oh, this guy's an idiot.
Right.
Could be the coolest dude in the world for all I know, but. It's just that whole attitude was just like, even Blackie was like walking around like, oh, you guys want to hear a song? And it's like, just shut up with the gimmick and just play the songs.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what we want to hear. We don't want you to, I was blind. Where were you blind? I was blind. He's like, shut up. Just play the song. Hey. Are you wild? And you're just like, yeah, play Wild Child. Come on.
Right.
It's these old people are just, they're the old musicians. they can't give it up. You know what I mean?
I know, right? They can't. They're built into. It's too routine, I guess. But I mean, these new albums blow, and I wish that they. I wish more bands evolved and wrote stuff that that was good. I mean, like I listened to the new Halloween, and it wasn't bad because they had Michael Kiske and the other two singers and writing some songs on it and everything. I don't know if that did well overseas, etc. I doubt it did anything in the United States, and because it's just one of those things where it's like, I mean, I own it. I've listened to it a few times. It's all right, but I'm not really going to throw it on in the car and stuff and drive around with listening to it or anything because it's just kind of okay, And it's like, I don't know. It's Kiss. I think Kiss probably Psycho Circus was probably the last time they had like some money thrown at their whole thing because they had kind of like this circus image thing going on or whatever, circus animals, and they had like a different kind of makeup-y look type of thing, and and they had like a video game, and they had those comic books, and they had some I mean, there was something going on there with Psycho Circus, but after that, as far as I can recall, it's just been dead. I mean, like nothing.
I'm looking it up now. Like what? Because there's two albums they released after Psycho Circus, and the one is Sonic Boom. That was the name of it. That's why I don't remember it because it's such a terrible name for an album. Sonic Boom. You guys aren't Boom anymore,
Right.
And then Monster. So.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know. I mean, Kiss is a totally different animal anyway. But
see,
like King Diamond, like when we went and saw him, and he like this is a great example too. He did that song off his new album that doesn't exist.
Right, it never came out.
Right, that never came out. That he kind of had a whole set designed around it in a way, good with the lighting and stuff. It was about like an insane asylum or something. And I played the song, and it was standard King Diamond stuff. It was all right. I mean, I was listening to it. And I'm like, all right, well, when the album comes out, I'll give it a listen and see how it is and everything. And then like King Diamond's like still talking about that album coming out, and he's gone on record to say that song won't even be on the album. Like that song will never that song may never show up on anything. They probably forgot how to play it between COVID and now when he's out doing the Merciful Fate thing. Go ahead.
I was just going to throw in, I was like, yeah, it's kind of funny because we go to see him live and he's like, I got a new album coming out. Here's a new song. He plays it. Everybody goes crazy. He's like, yeah, new album coming out next year. COVID hits. Next thing you know, he's like, yeah, I'm going on tour with Merciful Fate.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like
wait.
That album sounded like it was like imminent, and there is no album. There's no songs. There's no album. It's like, never mind, King. Just play the old shit. Don't even cut a new album. Like if you don't got one, don't bullshit us. We don't need one. Maybe you're telling your label that you're gonna make one. I don't know if you even got a label, but you don't need one. Just tour because we just do the Grandma and the Abigail. I mean, that's all we really want to see anyway.
Right.
I don't want to see anything. Like you don't need to make anything new. I don't want to hear it.
He could do 3 loops of like cities. He could come through and do like Abigail. He could be like, I'm doing all of Abigail, and you'd be like, wow, that'd be sweet. And you listen to all of Abigail, and then he'll come through again and be like, I'm doing all of them.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh. And next thing you know, he comes through. He's like, what was the next one? Conspiracy. Right.
He could do them and Conspiracy in one take if he wanted to. But I mean, but he's got he's got enough songs. He can just ride that shit. He could just tour. He could just tour in October or something. Be like, it's the Halloween show with King Diamond. Hit some major spots every year, and then just go back home and the rest of the year. I mean, he's old. Just relax. Do it once a year. Go drive your car around or whatever with your skulls on it and shit. I don't know what he says. Go shopping at Lucky and get some groceries. But yeah, some of these bands just need to. I mean, like Warrant is playing at the MGM or did or something, right? With Firehouse and Winger. Okay.
Yeah.
Warrant was Janie Lane. Let's just be honest. I know those other guys played instruments in the band, but Janie Lane wrote the music. He sang and he played. And it's like the guy was an alcoholic, and but he could write a song, man. The guy could write a song, and he died. He's dead now, and he's been dead for quite a while. And the band is like, we're still Warrant, and we have a new singer, and it's just like, no, you're not. I don't care if the guy sounds exactly like Janie Lane. I mean, it's just give it up. I mean, Journey, Steve Perry. I get the Journey thing. They found some guy that sounds pretty close to Steve Perry.
Just like him.
Except they
Don't fool
can't
yourself, kid.
quite hit the high notes they could, but he's pretty darn close.
Okay.
And but I mean, it's like I'll let you have Journey because Journey was ridiculously huge in the '80s. Like it was just they were so fucking big that okay, I can understand you guys didn't want to give it up because that's millions of dollars at stake. But at this point in Warrant's career, I mean, what are they getting? I mean, what are they going to get on an average night? A couple grand, something, you know? I mean, it's just
Look at, there is a band touring as Quiet Riot. Okay?
yeah,
Kevin Dubrow, the singer, is dead.
right,
Frankie Benali, the drummer, dead.
yeah,
The guitar player, Carlos Cavazo, or whatever his name is, he went and joined Rap. He's not in the band anymore. And I believe Rudy Sarzo just came back, the bass player. But before he was there, it was all guys who were never in the band. They never were in the original Quiet Riot.
Right.
And they were touring as Quiet Riot, and people were going to see it.
right.
People
right.
were like, yes, we're going to see Quiet Riot.
Well, you know,
And
that's what John Oliva was talking about when I'm reading these liner notes in these albums, and back when his brother died, Chris, and they started out with I think it was Handful of Rain, right? John wrote all the songs, and they just had Skolnick come in and do the solos on that album, and then when they went on tour, John wasn't on the tour, and he didn't sing on that album, I believe. And anyway, he didn't sing on tour. And anyway, and John would point out that he's like, there's nobody in the band that's an original member of the band.
Yeah.
Like nobody in the band is been there, you know, from the beginning. It's all new guys. Like there's no original members in the band. It's basically a different band. It was just a different band with a name. I mean, granted, John wrote all the music, but yeah, you know. And after reading all the show notes, I think a lot of it was Sabotage went downhill. Not just because Chris died, which did matter, but it's because Paul O'Neill wrote all of the. He was the producer and wrote all of the lyrics for most of the songs, going from like Hall of the Mountain King forward. And he was just really he was really into like, I don't know, Broadway and Broadway plays. And I mean, that's what he was turning all that music into. Like, you know, and if you think about it, and you know, these concept albums with Streets and Wake of Magellan, Dead Winter Dead, etc. These were all just like, you know, projects of his that he was thinking about stuff. And I think John was just kind of like, we got whiskey for me, all right, let's go, and he just come in and bang on the keyboard and stuff, you know, because the guy John Oliva is super smart. I mean, musically, you know, he's really good, but I mean, I don't think he really wanted to be there. And then the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, I mean, basically, right, just like a big Broadway play kind of thing. Like, just like, you know, it's like, oh, yeah, we'll do the Christmas. And again, that was his idea, too. He was like, yeah, we could do this song that I came up with. And, you know, we'll play this, and then we'll get everybody from Sabotage involved. We create Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And, you know, they're still doing that shit today. I mean, I think Paul O'Neill's dead now. But the thing is it's like, yeah, that's kind of what happened to Sabotage. You know, they started out as a metal band.
Yeah.
Then they kind of did that Fight for the Rock thing. We'll ignore that. And you know, and then it was like metal in your face, and then Gutter Ballet was kind of like the transition. It was still metal, but it was kind of, but it was kind of also progressive.
Kinda.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a concept album. And then as soon as they hit Streets, it was like
all over.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was still good because Chris was still on that album. You know,
still
so
great records. Oh yeah.
It's still great because that dude could play. I mean, that guy could play like nobody else. But as it progressed after Chris died, it's no good. But anyway, listen, I want to talk about metal anymore. People on this fucking podcast are like, God damn it, these guys could go on forever about metal. You all don't know. Don drew a chart when he was. Did you find the chart?
Didn't I? Do you know who I did that with?
Clay?
Do you remember? No, Clay Miller wouldn't be doing that. Dude, I'm going to send you the picture of it.
I don't know, because he could draw. Maybe he was doing the lines on it or something.
No, because it's just basically like a family tree type of looking thing. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I'm almost positive it was me and Burnett. and
I
I
could
meant to
believe.
go.
I could totally believe it was Burnett. Sure,
I was totally.
that's
I
the
thought
kind
I
of thing
think
he
it
would
was.
waste time doing. Yep.
Yeah, me and him stayed up all night and we put this together. And it's like I found that like a couple, I don't know, a month or two
For
ago,
people
and
who
I went,
don't know, it's a which is
oh yeah,
everybody
right.
listening. It's a it's a chart showing band members where they started and where they moved
It
to, and yeah, go ahead, Donnie. You explain.
it's basically like a musical, I guess you'd say a musical family tree kind of thing. And it starts with, I want to say Black Sabbath, Kiss, and oh man, I want to say
What,
like Deep
Judas
Purple
Priest
or
or
something like
Iron
that.
Maiden? Oh, Deep Purple. All right.
Yeah, because it was like we were trying to think of the three bands that had the most people, and I don't know why we picked Kiss, but and where is this fucking picture
I know
here?
why you picked Kiss.
Well, I know why I picked Kiss, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but then
so
it's just a hierarchy of people leaving, forming other bands, linking them to other bands, people, etc.,
right,
moving in between everything, and then there's, I mean, metal was it was a, it was a, it was a thing.
I missed it.
It
I
was
think
a,
I
it
missed
was a
it.
big deal. Yeah.
It was a big deal to me. But go ahead. You were explaining to everybody how I'm so into metal that
Yeah,
I
well,
put this chart
he
together.
obviously was in metal bands and everything. So I mean, we could talk about this shit forever. I mean, we really could. Donnie and I
I
could talk
could.
about every band under the sun forever that we've
I
listened to. It's nuts.
I've got a pretty good story, but I was just biting my tongue about it because it was about music and stuff, and I was like, we're doing too much of this.
Yeah, I think we're doing it. Don't hold on to
So
it for next time.
no, I'm
Sure.
gonna try. I'll save it for next time.
All right, let's not. I was going to talk about other kinds of music. We'll do that some other time. Let's talk
There's other
about
kinds.
the. I don't have much to say about it, but The Walking Dead finally ended, and I watched the show all pretty much all the way through, but the last couple seasons, full seasons, were really painful. Like the
Yep.
show has been on for like I don't know,
Ever
20 years or something, like since the
feels like it.
beginning of the 2000s, but there's 11 seasons. But the way they divvy that up and spread it out and everything, like, one season isn't even it's like longer than a year. So it's hard to even date when this whole thing started. And I have like a I had a mixed thing with it, like a mixed feelings about the show because it starts off okay. I liked it when it starts off, okay? Because, like, when we were young, when we were growing up, the kind of violence and gore that this show had would never be on TV. It
Right.
would have been rated R, and if it ever was a late night movie on TV, it'd be edited to shit. You wouldn't see
Oh yeah.
anything. There'd be none of it, right? And so, like, the fact that they were able to take this and put it on TV and it became popular and people were watching it like crazy, I was thinking to myself, like this is just funny to me, right? But it was also like there was this feeling at the time that this post-apocalyptic thing was going on in the United States for some reason. It might still be going on, I'm not sure. But you have a lot of these people like preparing for like the end times. You have these shows about preppers,
Right.
people like building like bunkers into their houses. You've got these shows where people are trying to survive in like a community or something, after and there's all kinds of like more shows and things that are kind of like that in a way. Like even Lost in a way is kind of like that because it's about a bunch of survivors trying to survive on an island, and then yeah, the Survivor, the TV show, like this whole like thing that's come where like people have gotten really interested in survival, right? And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making it after like some sort of event. And even with video games, there's lots of these video games out there that are all about like I don't know, constructing shit out in the woods and like building like a thing and zombies try to come and kill you. Minecraft is like that too. Anyway,
Yeah.
so The Walking Dead, was maybe an earlier pioneer of some of that. I mean, not to say there weren't post-apocalyptic movies or zombie movies or anything like that, but it was a
Yeah.
series, and it starts out, I think, with a fairly good premise in the sense of, Rick and his family are trying to survive this thing. So he's not just, the guys like in, Dawn of the Dead taking over the mall, shooting everybody in the head, and then driving around having fun in the mall, right? These are like, he's got a family, he's got kids and a wife. Well, one kid, but other people in the show, there was other kids involved. And, you had this kind of relationship between Maggie and Glenn. And so there was this kind of like family aspect to it, even though it's a zombie show. But it's like people can kind of relate to the family aspect of it. They're kind of like saying, like, how would I get my family through something like this, And they could kind of connect with some of these things, And then the Punisher was sleeping with his wife, and then he had to, like, have it out with the Punisher. But, and then, like, it sort of progresses, and family members, people disappear and everything. But they kept it going to the point where, you had Rick, you had his son,
Daryl.
No, not, he had Daryl, yeah, but his son was, I can't remember his name. I don't even want to remember his name. Carl, yeah. There was Carl, and then he had this baby Judith, and the wife was gone or whatever, and you get to a point where it's like, the writing was also really, it was pretty good. Not every episode. Some of that shit on Herschel's farm was fucking horribly boring. But like when they're like bent over sinks and they're like walking along and these guys are hitting dudes with the baseball bat. Right, exactly. And it's like super fucking intense. It's like so tense. And it's like and whoever was doing the show at that point, like, or was writing it or directing it or whatever, that it was good, and all of America seemed like it was watching when they get to Negan, and Negan kills Glenn and what's his face, and that was like kind of like the high watermark. And then I don't know, man, I think like right after that, basically Rick, it's like, I'm out of here, this show's getting dumb. And even Carl was like, I'm out, I'm gonna do school, I'm not, and
I gotta go be a normal kid.
Right. And Maggie's like, I'm going to leave and go try any other show other than this show. And so you just ended up with all these junky other people. And then it's just kind of like, and I know they're kind of following the comic books, so I can't completely blame AMC, because they did have to follow the comic, which kind of also ended not that long ago as well, because maybe it just kind of petered out. The ideas kind of ended. But the direction of the show was just crap. Like, it just became like this. It no longer was really about family. It was like they were trying to make it like we're all family. But, you got this one-eyed priest and, this deaf girl and a tattooed girl. And it's not it's just disaster everywhere, Even Michonne leaves the show. Like it all just like, it just became like a stagnant pile at the end. And that's unfortunate, because like, It maybe should have ended earlier and kept it together. But AMC was like, we're going to milk this dead corpse as long as we can. And they had that spin-off show called World Beyond that I didn't even watch, which lasted for 2 seasons, I guess, and didn't get renewed.
Fear the Walking Dead.
Now, that's still on, but that show...
Is it?
Yeah. But that show...
I thought it ended.
No. No, but you... See, now, I'll talk about that. So that show sucked when it first started.
Yeah.
First 3 seasons or so are just trash, and it was just living off of the popularity of The Walking Dead, because they had this like family that was trying to, and again they probably started out with the right idea. They're like, well, it kind of worked with The Walking Dead, so we're just gonna have the family sort of survive. But you didn't like anybody on the family. It was like the biggest group of people you never liked ever. There was like nothing, like, none of them were people you wanted to survive. You wanted the zombies to kill all of them.
It was the mom. It was the mom and the stepdad.
Yeah.
Drug addicted son.
Right.
And the princess daughter who didn't want anything to do with anybody.
Right, and the grandpa. And and okay, so then, because nobody else is probably watching the show, but I keep watching these things because I just, whatever, it's on in the background, because I really didn't watch those first 3 seasons very well. They kill off everybody in the family except the daughter and the grandpa. So all those people die. And then they bring in Morgan, right? Which was arguably a fairly interesting character from the regular TV show, although a little moody, all the time, and constantly carrying around that broomstick and banging guys in the head with it. But
Never knew
okay,
which Morgan you were gonna get.
yeah, he's just a little moody all the time. But okay, we all kind of like Morgan, I guess. And then you get I forget his real name, Willahunt, who's a rodeo or like a cowboy from like a Wild West show. So he's like a got 6-shooter, shoots guys in the head really good, and he's like with kind of like Jenna Elfman shows up, So Jenna Elfman's there too, and then you get this reporter chick, and she's there, and she's got like this SWAT van, and so the whole dynamic of the show changes. Like literally, it changes because you have basically all these other people, and then the daughter, and Grandpa is not there most of the time. He always shows up at like key moments, but for the most part, he's not even there. And so it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's like it's not bad with that group, that cast, but a couple people died, and the daughter left the show. She's like, I've been doing this show for like 20 years. I got to go do something else, which I don't blame her. I mean, you're an actor. It's just like, I didn't want to do this my whole life, be the same character the whole time. But then, like, the mom had died, and then they're like, we're bringing her back. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
She's awful. Like, I don't want to watch this Kim Dickens chick anymore. Like, don't bring her back. She's the most, like, depressed, moody, like, not likable person that you can have on the show. Like, it's going to be awful with her back on the show. But that's AMC, man. They just, I don't know. They just don't care. But anyway, like, so Fear the Walking Dead, yes, that's still around. And they're coming out with the spin-off with Daryl and Carol. They're going to be together, and they're going to do whatever they're going to do on the show. And next year, so when Rick left, he had, whatever that guy's name is, he had signed a 3-picture deal with AMC, but they decided to condense that into a 6-episode miniseries that's coming out in 2023. So, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just gonna go backwards here to the beginning. Like you said, when I first started watching, I didn't watch it at very beginning because I was just like, who cares? It's a show about zombies. Who cares? But then everybody started talking about it, so I started watching it. And like you said, it was so intense,
right?
So just so you were just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Who's gonna? It was so intense that's what stopped me from like when I would look at my DVR list. You know what I mean? You see how how like you go through your DVR list, your recorded shows,
right,
and you'll see a show and you'll be like, man, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood for this one. I'm not in the mood. I'm in the mood for this one, right?
Yeah.
Walking Dead would come up and I'd just be like, dude, do I want to put myself through this? Not in a bad way.
Right.
Like I wasn't being like, oh,
like this is gonna stress me out if I watch it, and I don't know if I'm in the mood.
Right. I'm just like, oh my god, this is gonna be so crazy and intense, and it was like that at the very beginning.
Right.
But it was weird because I was after you texted me today, I was thinking about it. I was like, what has Walking Dead been like for me? And the beginning of it was like that. This ending of it, since like you said, since about Negan. Since when Negan came in and everything and all that stuff happened at the Sanctuary, the show's been like lost.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, I mean, you said the same thing too. So it's like, how funny is that we thought the same thing? But it was because it's just like, okay, well, there's going to be somebody else who's going to want to control them or take them over or use them or kill them, and they're going to fight back, and let's just get this over with. Come on. And then I was at the point where it was like, I would see the show on the DVR and be like, I just don't even want to watch it. Like, it wasn't even a matter of like, oh, this is going to stress me out, or, oh, I can't wait to see what happens. Right. It was more just like, I mean, I kind of have to watch it.
Right. But that's exactly the only reason I hung in. It's like, I figure I just got to finish it because I've watched all these episodes. I'll finish it, but it was hard, man.
I think I have 3 left to the finale.
Yeah, it's like the worst. Like, you do not care. I don't care about any of these characters on that show. I don't care who dies. I'm not shocked if Rosita buys it. Like, I don't care. I don't care if
Right.
Daryl eats it. I don't give a shit about any of them anymore. Like, I don't, because they don't have, they had no direction. After Rick left, and I'm not saying it was him, it was the writing, right?
Yeah.
But after he left the show, there was just no direction anymore. It's like you didn't have the family element. You didn't have, like, a purpose in what they were doing. It just was, like, just the characters are trying to survive. It's like, who gives a shit? Like, I don't give a fuck about any of these people.
Like seriously, it's 2000. It's the year 2000. Whatever time this takes place, because obviously it started, back in 2000, whatever, 10
Yeah.
or 2011, 12, whatever. It's the 2000s. Okay.
Right.
Seriously, you people can put together like a water treatment system. You can make something you can power something up. You can create, you know what I mean, like a power plant type of. You can make batteries. You can, it's like these people travel from city to city. They're looking for resources. They're like, I need food. I need gasoline. I need bullets. Well, you know what nobody's taking? Books. So how about you grab some books and learn how to build stuff and learn how to make it. It's like, you've been doing this for years. Like, you mean to tell me you can't, it's like, they're like, well, we made this little farm in the corner for tomatoes.
Yeah, like how many people are in that town? And then they got like 10 plants, 10 tomato plants.
Yeah.
Like, what's that gonna feed? Like a week? I mean, come on.
This is the community garden over here. We're building up for the big feast at the end of the year.
it's so bad. Yeah,
They,
they were better off in the beginning when they were on the road and they had limited everything because the budget was constrained to that, and they could make a lot of drama out of running into unusual things. It was kind of interesting. Like, what's this community about? Oh shit, we're bent over sinks.
Yeah.
We're stuck in a
They're
rail
evils.
car. Yeah, exactly. Like, you didn't know what was going on or whatever. The governor thing was a little bit interesting, I guess. He had that weird kid zombie that he was holding on to in his house and all this sort of
That was
stuff.
his daughter.
And he had a tank. Well, I know, but
He was going to be better.
right. But there was enough mystery there that it was constantly happening that it was kind of keeping it interesting. But where this is just like, well, we have a town and we're just evil people and we're trying to control everything. It's like, this could be anything. This could be any show, anything at all. Like, it doesn't need zombies in it. You don't have any ideas. You blew it basically. So thank God it's over.
They're like fast forwarding through seasons, like in between seasons. It's like Judith is just a baby, but then she's like 8, 9 or something like
Right,
that.
right.
It's like, okay, so I can handle that. But you still have the little farm in the corner. Like, haven't you guys
Right.
expanded?
Right.
Like Father Mulcahy had a bigger patch of corn growing in Korea in an episode of MASH than these guys have over the course of the years in their show.
Oh, and they're always like out tending to it. Like, how much tending to the plant do you have to really do? It's like, there's like 10 plants. It's
like, no, you mean to tell me nobody's built a sawmill or anything around here?
You have like a
you don't have
field,
blacksmith.
like a big field where everybody's working in the fields together.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. So anyway, Thanksgiving's coming up this Thursday.
Oh yeah.
What do you do these days? I mean, what goes on in the
Same thing I always do.
What? Nothing? Is that what you're gonna tell me?
No. Every year, my cousin out in East Lake has. She does Thanksgiving. She makes up turkey and mashed potatoes and all the food and all that stuff. And she loves it. She's like, I love making food for my family and having everybody come over. And we go over there and we crush it. And then we either pass out on the couch watching football, or we could leave. It just depends. It usually depends because what Sophie's doing with her mom, or
Right.
with her mom's family. And
That's
stuff
good
like that,
though. I'm
because-
glad you guys get together with the family and everything. Your brothers go? Everything?
No.
Oh,
Just me and my mom and Sophie.
that's interesting.
Yeah, my brothers. Well, it's like my brothers are all weird. My Ian goes with his wife's family.
Well, that
and
makes
then
sense, right?
Bobby and his wife don't do anything. They
And
just
then I
sit
imagine
home.
Al has his own thing, right?
And Al just sits at home too.
Right.
Him and his wife. So.
Well, I've always
Hey,
been
the-
talking about having Thanksgiving at my house for the local family, let's say. And I've never done it, mainly because, like, cleaning my house is always a struggle when you work two jobs. But you know,
You don't want the unwashed in your house.
right. And I also had this thing where I was like, well, you know, most of this is my brother's doing. Like, these are all my brother's people. So he should really be the one that's hosting this. You know, why would I want to pay all the money and do it? But I came to the realization that's like, I'm never going to see these family members. And they're going to grow and have children like they have been. And those children will grow and probably have children before I die. And I would like to, see them. I don't see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, this year I'm going to do it. You know, so I reached out to everybody, and basically my brother is a maybe, and it's probably closer to a maybe not, because he thinks he has to work. So I'm having it at 3:00 on Thanksgiving Day. He says he's already going to be in another state, ready to unload for Black Friday the next day. I don't know about that, but I said, okay, we'll see. And then his girlfriend and his youngest daughter are very antisocial. Now, I have reached out to Jody and said, like, you should come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it'll be fun. But I don't think if he doesn't go, they're not going to go. So
they need that buffer.
Right, be down 3 people, probably from the start. But you know, maybe they'll tell him that he has to work on Friday instead, because some of these places will be so busy on Black Friday, they won't have time to take an order delivery. You know, that's what he told me. Like, we don't have time to pick up deliveries on Black Friday, so people don't make orders. They want their orders the next day. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if you're going to be ready for Black Friday, you're already stocked up to open your doors, you know, in the morning.
Yeah.
You're not going to be sitting there unloading trucks. You're going to do that at night or the next day. So, who knows? Okay, so then that leaves his ex-wife, right, and her 2 boys. They got a 5-year-old and I think a 4-year-old, right?
Wait, who?
Lori.
She's got boys?
She had, yeah. So.
Oh boy, here we go. You just opened up a can of worms. Didn't even know it.
Yeah, no. So like, she's been banging. No. So
The grandkids.
No, so no. So trying to explain this because it's a little confusing.
Well, if you don't want to do it now.
No, it's fine. I'll explain. No, it's just because people might be curious, you know. Her sister has 2 sons. The oldest son has 3 kids. Okay? He has the 2 boys and a daughter that's kind of an infant. He went to jail. Prison.
Gotcha.
He's in prison. The mom wasn't fit. So the boys went up for adoption. The baby the baby girl was still kind of an infant, so she still had that one at the time. Lori's like, I'm the only family member that's capable of raising these 2 boys, and I'm like, I don't know if you are, but okay. I mean, you know, maybe. I mean, she's kind of old and doesn't have a whole lot of money, but okay. Yeah, so she adopts the 2 boys. You know, the father, I don't know when he's getting out. I don't know what that's all about. But he's not going to adopt them. So she's adopted the boys. Now, the daughter ended up with the mom's grandmother. It's the mom's grandmother, because something happened there. So that's okay. So there is some separation there. It is what it is. The dad is doing like a DNA test to even find out if the daughter is his. So I don't know. Okay, but that's basically that story.
We don't know.
So the long story short is, though, Lori, my brother's ex, has 2 boys, 5-year-old and 4-year-old. Okay. Samantha is my brother's eldest daughter. She is engaged. She's going to come, but her fiance is going to his mom's. So I'm fine with that. I don't never really spoke to her fiance before. I think the last time I actually saw that dude in person, like he was on a bicycle. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And she's like 30 now. So like
yeah.
so is he. So, that's just kind of funny. Like I mean like a bicycle like a kid on a bike, like
Oh,
you know
he
what I mean?
was a kid.
Yeah, not like some dude in the park, and riding a bike
I was
around.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
so he rides a bike.
Yeah,
So
like
what?
like a little kid on a bike.
Very earth
So
friendly.
that's how long ago I talked to that dude, and I didn't talk to him. I was like, "Oh, there's her boyfriend," because they've been together
Yeah.
forever. So anyway, she's coming, so fine. She has no kids, and I think they're supposed to get married in September of next year. We'll see. And then Sydney, which is the middle child, is coming, and she has two twin boys that are both. I think they're still 3. I think they're getting close to 4 though. And so they're coming too. So I'm gonna have 4 boys: Lori, Samantha, and Sydney, and then my girlfriend and her 2 daughters. So it is going to be me and a house of women
Dude.
because my brother isn't going to show and Samantha's dude's not going to show. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting. But whatever,
I
I'm
can't
fine
say
with
it.
it. I'll be fine with it. It doesn't matter to me. We have a good time. Get a lot of food.
Yeah.
Make it, dish it up. Got everything together, and trying to make it into a tradition, and just see who comes every year, kind of thing. Because like
Yeah.
historically, like what's happened is that like my brother would go with his girlfriend to her mom's, but her mom died a few years ago, so they haven't done anything on Thanksgiving. And I know my brother and Jody they're not cooking Thanksgiving at home, and if they are, it's probably not great. just,
It's gonna be
just saying.
frozen pizzas,
Yeah, it's probably not going to be
mac and
very good,
cheese.
right? And then like Lori and with the boys and everything, they're not making it at their place. And when she would go with her family, they would actually go to that buffet place. What's it called?
Golden Corral.
Yeah, Golden Corral. They would go to Golden
Oof.
Corral on Thanksgiving, and that would be their Thanksgiving. But her family has all passed on in recent years, so they haven't been really doing anything either. So yeah, and there's just this separation. I mean, Samantha doesn't live with them, you know what I mean, anymore. So
Right.
she's gone, and Madison and them are out in Eastlake and all this. So I'm just like, well, I don't know how often even the sisters see each other. I mean, I think Samantha sees Sydney every so often because she goes over to visit the boys, but I don't think they see Madison very often because she's out in Eastlake. And unless Brian picks her up, and drives
Right.
or picks her up, they live together, but pulls her out of her room basically and drives her all the way out to Lorraine now where they live.
Right.
They don't see each other. So I'm like, I'm kind of centrally located, so everybody should come, and it would make a lot of sense. But Brian's group is kind of antisocial. No, I don't blame Brian. Brian would be there if he didn't have to work. I appreciate the work. He's a truck driver. It is what it is. But yeah, the other 2 aren't probably going to show up unless he does. I don't think he's going to come. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It should be interesting. I'll report back on how it is and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You'll have to let us know how that goes.
yeah. And then I got this thing in the mail. Amazon has this experimental robot. It looks like a dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really. It doesn't really look like a dog. But it's about the size of a dog. It's got wheels, 2 big wheels, and a little ball wheel on the back, and it rolls around your house. And it's basically looks like a monitor, right? Because it has like a monitor in it on the front,
Lizard?
and it can turn it and it makes like little eyes on it, and it has cameras on it, and it can like look at you and recognize your face, and it can roll around the house, and you can also control it with your phone, so you can look around the house at stuff with it, and you can see like what's going on in your house if you're not home. You can roll it around, and it has this one camera that's on like a collapsible extension, so you can like raise it up off the floor and like see what's on counters and stuff. And it's called Amazon Astro, and it's pretty useless, really. I mean,
I mean,
gotta just say I don't know what they're going with it. It's not cheap. When they plan to actually sell it, because they're not selling it right now, you have to be like chosen to get it, and I have it. But when they do sell it, it's going to be like $1,500. I don't think anybody's going to buy it. Like
I'm not.
It's no, like it.
What do you mean no?
No, I mean like no, like not because of the money. I'm saying like it's like there's no purpose behind it. Like it's like there's no like okay, there is a couple purposes for it. So you can check out what's going on in your house when you're not home. Although there's cheaper ways to do this.
Home cameras.
Yes, and it will patrol your house when you're not around and alert you to things that it sees or picks up. Okay,
Until
so
somebody jumps out and kicks it across the room.
So if you needed some kind of security robot, okay, maybe. Like maybe at a business, sure. You leave at the end of the night, it's patrolling. It might be kind of useful, maybe. I don't know. But right, it might kick it, but it might have enough to send you an alert. Who knows? But again, motion detectors, cameras, cheaper. So not great. But you can two-way communicate with people if that's your thing, although people have phones. So you can do that, right? So not really that useful that way. Mostly just be able to sort of, like I don't know. This is what I'm saying. Like I don't know what the point of it is unless they add something
Get your information
to it. Like if it had, I mean, this is probably beyond where we are technologically right now for things like this, but if it had a mechanical arm of some kind, even one of those old like Radio Shack arms with the claw that kind of moved around, if you could do something with it where you could turn a knob or push a button or flip a switch manually, then I could see the utility in it. Honestly, I could. Because like let's say you're not home and you're like, fuck, I forgot to feed the dog. You could maybe feed the dog with something like this if it had an arm, right? Yeah. You could turn on something, you could turn something off with it. But now this thing, all it's going to do is it's just going to tell you that some shit's on. They use this thing like they're like in the advertisement, they're like, you can see that the burner to the stove isn't on. That you did indeed leave it when you left the house. Okay, but what if I left it on? Like, it can't, it's just going to show me that it's on. It's going to be like, you left the burner on, dummy. You better get back here. You know what I mean? Like, if it had a little arm, it could maybe shut it off, right? I mean, that would be, like, really useful technology. If you forgot to lock the door, it could lock the door for you. Now, I know in some cyber universe, we could get electric door locks, Wi-Fi up the stove and shit and control everything through the... But we're not there right now, right? So this could have been an interesting it could have been an interesting stopgap if it had that functionality, but it doesn't. And they have a little carrying tray in the back, and they show that like you can put like a drink in there, and it'll like deliver the drink to the person in the other room. But I mean, unless you're living in like a 10,000 square foot single floor house, like it doesn't take much to just take the beer out of the fridge and take 4 steps over to the person in the other room and hand them the drink. Plus, it doesn't take stairs. So if you live in an up and down and they're down, I mean, it's useless. Like, it's fucking useless. Go ahead.
As soon as you said it had a tray, I got 2 things. As soon as you said it had a tray on the back, you could deliver drinks. I don't know why, but the first thing I thought of was like, you're out and about, you got your little thing roaming around the house, like your little dog, looking around, and you find your grandma on the ground. And you're like, oh my God, Grandma's in trouble. And so you send them into the fridge to get a glass of water and bring it to her. Like, I'm on my way, Grandma. Here's some water.
Right. No, right. Yeah. I mean, that might be helpful if you have old folks. You could just like look at them. But again, probably could do that with regular cameras, But I guess this, at least, you don't have to set cameras up everywhere. You'd have one device that you could kind of roam around with it. So, I mean, I get it, but it's pretty pricey versus cameras. Not to mention Amazon has a flying camera now, which is also fucking ridiculous. Have you not seen that? Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous too.
I have no idea.
So it's in a base, right? and you can use your phone, and I think it also will do some things like automatically patrol. And at certain times or whenever you activate it, it will fly like a drone. It will come out of the thing and then fly around your house wherever you want it to go to look at things, and then go back to its base when it's done. And it's way cheaper than Astro is. So not once again, not really that utility. So it's like this thing would be. I mean, it's like a serious piece of kit. It's not like a piece of trash. Like it's actually like heavy and kind of expensive and made this robot dog. But it's like it doesn't have a purpose, man. Unless you want Alexa to follow you around. I mean, I don't know why you would. You just have a phone to have Alexa on your phone. Just talk to Alexa. You really like Alexa. Go ahead.
I could see if this was around when you and Brian were kids, and you'd just be sitting there watching TV, and this thing would just roll into the room, and it would just look at you and be like, "Get your hand out of your pants." And you would just turn around and walk out of
Right.
the room or something. You're
Yeah.
just like, that's all you guys would be doing with it.
If it was really intelligent enough to like look around the room and see things and comment, that might be interesting. I mean, it might be.
Well, no, I mean, it would be Brian. It would be Brian.
Oh, I know it would be
controlling
Brian, but I mean, if it could actually like look at things and be like, "Oh, I see you're watching Star Trek. This is a good episode" or something, I'd be like, "That's creepy." And please please switch yourself off because I don't want you telling the whole world I'm watching Star Trek. But if it was actually not telling the whole world that it had its own brain, that kind of thing, maybe that would be kind of cool. I don't know. But it's not. It's not. It needs a mechanical arm, or it needs some kind of other. Like maybe it needs like a 45. So like if somebody does come in, it could just be like, just lay them out or something. Like that's cool, robot gun,
like that robot from RoboCop, the initial one they brought out. You have 20 seconds to comply.
Yeah, it's got a freaking hand cannon comes out of the sides of the thing and just starts lighting shit up. No, I don't know. It is a bizarre thing. I've been looking at it and playing with it and everything, and I mean you can get it to just like roll up on you and like just start a movie playing and stuff, but it's just ridiculous. I mean, what are you gonna just sit there and stare at a movie? You know what I mean? Like on this robot? Like put it on the TV, man. I don't understand what this thing's for.
It's just another device. It's another device for lazy people.
I mean, it doesn't. Like if it had some sort of extra thing that it could like back up into, and then like you were just saying, like the water glass or the beer bottle or maybe some snacks or something could go into it from this other thing and then wheel that over to you. As lazy as that is, I could see some people finding utility in that. Hey, look, there's handicapped people out there. There's old people.
And there's people.
They don't want to get up. If this thing could deliver them some items like that, great. But it can't because there is nothing that does that. It's some other person has to put the shit into the unit, and so it's like it's weird. Like I feel like it's like these Amazon people, like it doesn't get out of the, like they don't think it through enough. They're kind of like, build the robot, we'll make it, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with it. It's like, why don't you decide what you're going to do with it before you spend all this money making the fucking thing,
Right.
Like it's kind of crazy. Like, but who knows? Maybe they've got big plans for it. I don't know.
You got this thing rolling around like an R2 unit on the Jabba the Hutt sand barge,
right?
Giving out drinks,
right?
And stuff.
Yeah, it's like an R2 unit. That's a great way to look at it. Except one that talks. It's like a C-3PO. Well, he said C-3PO is kind of useless. I don't even know if he ever used his hands for anything. But it's kind of like that. It's
tried to hold that microphone or whatever that one time. It just looked weird.
His
fingers didn't curl around it.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, Amazon Astro, not great. Don't get one. And if you're curious, it's like not worth the money. And I have it because I'm just crazy. But I got this other thing too from Amazon at one time. It was like Alexa, and it was instead of on a watch or in your phone, it was a ring, like a finger ring that had Alexa on it, and you could push it, a button on it, and then you could, talk to it like Alexa, and you could actually get phone calls with it. And I thought it was the stupidest thing. I have it. But this is dumb. Like it's fucking stupid. Like I don't understand why anybody would use this instead of a watch or their actual fucking phone. Like what time savings is it to have a ring? And I must have been right because they never released it. Like they must have just been like, "This is dumb," and it's another one of those things that just like you could have figured this out without even
Yeah.
releasing it. Like I don't even know what you're doing. Like
If you're gonna make a ring, at least make it like the Green Lantern's ring. You know, have it do cool stuff. Like
yeah,
project
that's a great
images.
idea, right? Have it like fucking have LEDs and crazy colors and shit. Yeah.
And let me just add that I also love the sentence, "This is the most useless thing in the world." I mean, I have one, but
Yes, yes. But that's me historically. Like let's just be honest.
I know, no, I know.
That's
That's why it's funny
that's what
because
I
you
do
always
all the
say it,
time. Yeah.
everything.
I
You
of
know,
course. Like I've got
this
to
is the
have
most useless thing in the world, and
yes.
I've got two of them.
Right. You tell me that I can get some kind of prototype of something for something, and
He'll
I'll be
take it.
like, yeah, I'll get it because I don't know. Just in the back of my brain, I think this might be worth money someday. This
Yeah,
might be worth
you
a
never
lot of
know.
money because there will only be so many, and somebody one day is going to be like, remember the Amazon Ring? Boy, only 100 people had that, and man, those things go for like thousands of dollars now or something, you know. And then I'd be like, I actually have one, you know. But no, that won't happen. People don't listen to me. That'll never fucking happen. You know, that's just some rando shit that happens once in a blue moon to products that I don't own. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. It's never the stuff we get.
No, right, exactly. No, I don't have anything. I don't have anything cool like that. Yeah, we did get a email from an Oblast guy. I was talking to him.
Uh-oh.
Interesting things are going on in that guy's life. I'm not going to repeat it though. It's about some shit that happened in his neighborhood and everything. He was just asking me for some computer programming advice, but he just kind of told me some stuff. But he did ask me about some stuff about trackers and things like that are used in like music making, things like that, digital music making. So that was one of the things I was going to talk about. So we might talk about that next time. I did not spend a lot of time making music with trackers. I don't really write music, as Donnie will tell you. Mostly wrote song lyrics, but I did do a little bit of digital music streaming before that was even a thing. Like long before anybody was doing anything with any of it. I did a little bit of it. I could talk a little bit about that next time. If I remember, which I won't. I mean, I'm sure Don and I will
Yeah.
just bitch about whatever's on Disney next week because that's what we do. But we really appreciate you guys all listening. Thanks. And if you know any friends or anything that you might think that would like the show, do tell them about it. Maybe they'll give it a listen and, expand our audience a little bit. That always helps everything with us. And, yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Yeah, for sure.
Peace.